You're back with us here at Real Life, Real Faith. Welcome. It is me, Christy, your host, alongside Pastor Far and Charlie Jordan. And I know that we've spoken about this topic a number of times before, but I feel like it's one that can really, truly be quite exhaustive, actually. And the question I'm asking today is, what does true forgiveness look like in the eyes of Christ? And this is it's actually quite a difficult question.
Yeah.
Because forgiving someone can look different depending on what the need for forgiveness is.
Right.
And growing up in South Africa, I did a lot of work with very horrifically abused children. And there is no way that I can believe that Jesus would have looked at this 8 or 9-year-old little girl and said, to prove your forgiveness, you need to spend time with your abuser. I just don't see that that is something, and I know that some places teach that. You know, true forgiveness means that you have to forget that it ever happened and live like it never happened.
Yeah.
But trauma builds itself into your body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people can develop varying personality disorders from trauma, especially dissociative ones. And you see that especially when there's sexual abuse in children. A lot of them develop some sort of disassociation. And, you know, in all the literature that I've read on it and speaking to varying people who are experts in the field, you know, they say that it's the body's way of protecting the child, is that it's almost like it causes a splitting. And so the reality is, and I know it's a bit of a harsh topic, and the reason that I can speak about it with these two men is because I know that there are two men who would sooner die than see any child hurt.
Right.
But the tragedy, you know, Charlie, is that there's a lot of men who intentionally hurt.
Right.
There's a lot of men, Pastor Far, that go out and it's almost like their life mission is, and I am singling out men because the vast majority of people that, you know, cause that kind of pain, unfortunately, are men. But that's in an abuse context. You know, in an abuse context, I just don't think that Jesus would say to some kid, you've got to forgive and forget and hang out with this man who hurt you. But that's abuse. Let's talk for a second about church offense. How does that look, Pastor Far?
Church offense?
Church offense, when you're offended with somebody at the church.
That's deep. That's deep.
That's deep.
Because that's when we're offended by a brother, we never expect it. But as we mature, when we should realize we all make mistakes. But real quick, Christy, I want to just jump back real quick because what you said was so powerful. And I mean, I wasn't, for some reason, and it's the first thing we should think about, I guess, in a lot of ways, is how children are abused. But,
yes.
You know, what does true forgiveness look like? It's a choice, it's a process, and it brings peace and freedom. As you were saying, you can't force a child or anyone.
No.
Forgiveness is a choice, and God gives us choice, and He also gives us process,
Yes.
you know. And this will carry over into our relationships in the church. God's called us to walk together, and you know, if we realize we have an enemy and he wants to divide us, and people aren't perfect, and I'm going to make mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I'm going to make more, and so is everyone else.
Right.
So I think if we draw back and kind of, you know, look at it, you know, from a distance and say, okay, it is very personal, but yet at the same time, in the big picture, you know, I can deal with this a lot better if I just kind of draw back and assess it, differently than, you know, being bruised and broken. And, you know, it's hard when you are bruised and broken, but we need help to get over that. But we can't, some people will never go back to church or fellowship with Christians any longer. And, you know, there's just a place in God where we can get over offenses and we can learn how to not hurt other people as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I experienced that with members of the church that I was going to here in the early 90s. When I first started traveling with Prophet Clement, I went to a church up in Palmdale here in California. And so I would receive phone calls from different people at the church because my pastor, who was Dr. Robert Cathers, he turned the church over to his assistant pastor. And a lot of people were offended by the new pastor. And so they would call me. And one of the things that I told them was this. I said, well, are you going to church for him or are you going to church for Christ so that you can receive from Christ? And I said, so keep your attention on God, keep your attention on Christ, because man, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes. And if you can go to the new pastor now and you can present yourself to him and say, hey, look, I was offended by this, you offended me this way or whatever. And if he's a true man of God, he will listen to you. Give him a chance. Give him a chance to be able to, apologize or whatever needs to take place. And because I got so many calls for that. But I want to go back to what you were saying about the child abuse, because my wife was tremendously abused as a child.
I did not know that.
And I had, we dealt with the aftermath of that abuse through our relationship.
Yeah.
And still to this day, certain things that she struggles with.
Yeah.
And what I found, this is what I wrote down here. I wrote this down. I'm gonna have to take my glasses. It's funny. I got to take my glasses off to read. That's kind of strange.
You do it, Charlie.
But I wrote this down because this is how I was able to minister to my wife because of what she has had to deal with. But I said, the first thing that you have to try to do is try to emulate Christ. Try to be like Christ, first and foremost. Because forgiveness doesn't mean you have to forget, because we as humans, it's hard to forget. As a matter of fact, let me just be real bold. Unless God really does a huge miracle and, he just wipe all of that out of your mind.
Then I remember.
Yeah. You will always remember that. So forgiveness is not forgetting, okay? All right? Forgiveness is surrendering. We used to sing a song. Prophet Kim used to sing this song, and that's something that we did so. That's what I loved about our ministry and Prophet Kim's expression, because he sung from the Spirit. He allowed the Spirit to sing through him. And we used to sing the song, I surrender to your love, to your joy, to your truth, to your light.
Yeah.
We would sing this over and over. And when you sing a song that is birthed prophetically, you will begin to be transformed into that God is saying. When you surrender all to him, anyone that has abused you, that have hurt you, you have surrendered that over to him. And now, though it's in the back of your mind, it's no longer controlling you. It's not in the front. It's like a scar. Our daughter, Jade, she had a massive heart surgery.
Yeah.
She had 3 of them. Now, she's got that scar on her chest. That scar will forever be there. But her heart is healed.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
You see? So when you allow forgiveness to overtake your forgetting, because remember, you will never forget, but allow forgiveness to overshadow that you can't forget. You still may have the scar, but the scar has a scab now, or it's just a little scar. You healed. You're not bleeding from it anymore. You're not being affected by it anymore. But the scar is still there, but it doesn't bother you. That to me was the best way that I was able to help my wife.
Yeah.
God commands us to forgive.
Yes.
Jesus didn't wait for an apology
No.
to forgive us.
He chose to.
It's a reflection of Christ when we forgive. So the Bible just lays out these principles, and I'm saying it real easy. It's not easy to do, but anyway, but it brings healing, and God wants us whole.
He does want us whole, and I know I've spoken about this to my dad quite extensively, and he had a lecturer, professor at Christ for the Nations, Dr. Carol Thompson, and he used to speak about how you know that you're healed when you're able to remember something without pain.
Right.
And I think that that's, again, we can't make a generalization that's going to go across every category, but I do think whether it's something horrendous like abuse, or if it's something like a church offense, or if it's family, or if it's, there's so many ways that people hurt other people.
Right.
There's so many ways that we hurt each other. And, Jesus came into this world to seek and to save, and we need that. We need to be sought out, and we need saving, every single one of us. But I do think if we're able to reflect back at a very difficult time in life, and we're able to talk about it or remember it without this very intensive pain, it kind of goes to what Charlie's saying, even with his daughter, there's a scar, meaning you can see that surgery happened. You can see that there was a problem, but Jade isn't in pain from that anymore.
Right.
It's healed up. And so, just the other day, actually, my daughter's going to be 9 in June.
Wow.
And she was complaining bitterly about the fact that the apple was eaten in the garden. And she was saying, I just wish that they'd never eaten that apple, because then, and she was complaining about, she's got braces on. And she was complaining about the pain that she was feeling in her mouth. And I mean, she's really going through it, poor kid, Right. And she's, she was crying. She called me from school crying because she couldn't eat her lunch because her teeth were so sore. And I was like, okay, baby, I'm sorry, we'll get you something softer. But in her little world, if Eve just hadn't had that apple, she wouldn't be dealing with the pain of sore teeth. And, the thing is, we can look at that, and I love the simplicity of that, and she said, heaven's going to be so great because there's just not going to be pain anymore.
Yeah.
And then we had a difficult week where she lost, her hamster perished. It was a whole thing. So then, she started talking to me about death and decay. And to be fair, I mean, I was talking to my mother about these things when I was 3, so I got a little bit more of an extension on that difficult topic than I gave my parents. But,
Right.
I was speaking to her about that and just saying, in heaven there's no sorrow, there's no sighing, there's no pain, there's no more contending with darkness, there's no more contending with difficulty. And she just said, wow, that sounds so wonderful. And I said, it is going to be wonderful, but the things that we go through in this life are teaching us lessons, and God is able to use anything to teach us. And I said, for instance, right now you're learning how to be patient, which is really annoying, and I understand that, and I'm very sorry that you're going through this. But I said, you're learning to be patient even when you're eating your food.
Yeah.
You're having to take smaller bites, and she's annoyed because she's got to brush her teeth after every meal. And for us, that can sound like such a small, simple thing that a kid is going through, but sometimes trials and hardships, I'm not talking about abuse, please hear me, I'm not talking about that at all, but different things that we go through can cause us to learn about ourselves and to learn more about the personhood of Christ. At the end of the day, there's always going to be a reason for us to find offense. There's always going to be a reason for us to need to forgive, always. And in as much as people have hurt us, we too, whether intentionally or unintentionally, we hurt other people.
Yeah.
That's what we do. And so the thing that I would encourage you to remember is that think about how much forgiveness you know you need. And then I ask this of myself. I know that there's things I definitely need to be forgiven for. And then it's kind of saying to God, I pray that you would help me to forgive those that I need to forgive, and that you would help them to, those that need forgiveness from me, that you would help them to forgive as well, so that we're able to walk in that. And the other story, the last account I'll talk about, is David, when Shimei was throwing stones at him and hurling insults at him. And, one of his commanders said, I'm going to go down there and kill this guy. And he said, no, let him curse me. Let him say what he wants to say. Maybe God will take pity on me. Basically paraphrasing, saying maybe I'm reaping something that I sowed. Or maybe God will look at what I'm going through and will take pity on me and exact his vengeance. And I do think that the vengeance of God is infinitely more important than the vengeance of man, which is a difficult thing for me to deal with. Because in another life, I'd love to be a vigilante that goes and clears out the streets of the bad people that hurt children. But, here we are stuck. But just an encouragement to you, if you're struggling to forgive, bring it to Jesus. His mercies are new every morning. Whatever it is that you're facing, whatever it is that you're remembering, God is able to heal anything.
Yes.
There is no darkness he can't reach.
Yeah.
There is no pain he can't heal. No matter how deep, how long, how difficult, he's able to reach in and touch any part of you that needs healing. And I really do pray that that would be released to you as you make the decision. Even if you say, Jesus, I don't know how to forgive, please help me to even think about it. That's still progress, process, step in the right direction towards going from open heart surgery to a scar that's healed, that we might remember, but we don't have to be in pain about. And so thank you so much for watching. For those of you that are able to financially support us, we would be so grateful. There's a red link below your player. There's a QR code you can scan. You can text the word. You can text your amount to and text your gift to us. There's so many ways that you can do this, and we really do rely on your support to be able to keep everything going here at the House of Destiny Network. We would not be able to do this without you. It is only because of you that we're able to do this, and we're trying to do it for you and carrying on the life and legacy of Kim Clement, and that's what we do at the network. Every day there's something different for you, and we want to be able to keep bringing that to you. So I pray that God would move on your heart and that you would be able to contribute any amount. Really will help us to be able to continue this mission. And so if you'd like to get in contact with us, email us realfaith@houseofdestiny.org. Watch us every Tuesday, real-faith.tv. And if you need prayer, write to us. If you'd like a topic discussed, write to us. We do love hearing from you. And so we say thank you, God bless you, and we'll see you next week.
Some of us really like to wait on the Lord. I love to wait on the Lord, but sometimes God is just waiting on me.
Jehoshaphat worshiped,
Yeah.
and the battle was won, okay? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was thrown into the fire because they refused to worship that false idol. They worshiped God. But what's so beautiful about that when they were thrown in the fire, what did they do? Did they freak out? They said, oh my God, they worshiped.
But God said, don't do it, and then he commanded them to shout. It's illogical.
Yeah.
How can shouting win a battle?
Right.
Well, the battle is the Lord's. And because he's the great commander of all things, and he is the Alpha and Omega, and the beginning from the end, and the first and last, and all things in between, he enabled their faith to cause the shout that they gave as a nation to cause walls that were so thick to crumble into the ground.
Hello, friends. I'm Donna Clement Petrushka, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding his revelations. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.